two extreme things, and and you're going to
absolutely.
Ultimately, you're trying to scare parents. So
I mean, the lyrics are pretty scary.
now
They're like, definitely was a 50 Cent fan or a Tupac fan back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, some West Side Gun for you, kids. Maybe don't tell your parents about it. Bryan Adams, Commodore. You can tell your parents about the Bryan Adams. Commodores, Quiet Riot, and Air Race have all been a part of the show today. We've got a big birthday in one of the most famous groups in basketball history today on March 1st. Let's hit that and some other things and why today matters. Here we go. Oh, goodness sake. 3 down, 2 to go. When I was, how old would I have been when the Fab Five became the Fab Five? That would have been 90-91.
Like 16?
Right in there. So I'm 15, 16. I'm just getting started in high school. So as we sit here now, 3 members of the Fab Five have turned 50. I believe it was Juwan first, then it was Jalen Rose, and today it's Chris Webber's 50.
C-Web.
Happy birthday to C-Web today. 50 years old. I always say it about these guys that I hope there's a day where they can all 5 be back together and feeling connected again. I don't think that's the case. There's always been a little something with the rest of the group versus Chris and Webber's legal stuff and the Michigan treatment of these guys. It's been very complicated. The documentaries have been awesome, by the way, that they put together. But Chris wasn't a part of the 30 for 30, and it's been really sad. We finally got past the point where I think they put the banners back. I think that finally happened.
Since Juwan Howard's taken over for Michigan, I think they got all that stuff back.
At some point, I really hope those 5 guys can stand on that floor and let the people love on them again, because they changed so much more than just an era of basketball.
Yeah, and again, with Jalen Rose getting the head coaching job at Michigan, he's brought back
Juwan Howard.
Juwan Howard getting the job. He slowly brought in those guys like Jalen Rose and Chris Webber, Jimmy King, Ray Jackson, bringing those guys back so they could relive those great memories that they had in the early 90s. It's now with NIL and all these guys benefiting from name, image, and likeness, those situations that happened during that day, they make no sense. And they should have been getting paid back then, because we knew what kind of, tone setting that they were doing at the time, with the baggy shorts and the black shoes with the black socks and just the swag and style that they brought to the table. Like, they could have made so much paper off of NIL to where maybe Chris Webber wouldn't have entered the NBA his sophomore season and would have came back to be with his brothers to maybe go for another run, because they got to Final Four both years.
Yep.
That the Fab Five was able to play,
and then championship game the second.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Chris, there's a timeout. We don't have any. We don't. I'm sorry. We just don't.
Man, he's had to deal with that the whole run since. But I'll admire the way he's dealt with it. He's had to answer those questions. He has a charitable foundation called Timeout.
Dope.
I mean, he's had to eat it in a lot of ways, and that was one of my big heartbreaks as a college basketball fan growing up. Since I'm an A&M fan, so obviously I didn't see the Aggies get anywhere close to the championship, but I loved that team, and I hated North Carolina. I just never rooted for Carolina. So I'm watching that night. That's 93, so I'm like junior, senior in high school, and I was crushed. Crushed. I love the UNLV team at the early part of that decade, and the fact that I got to see them finish it was awesome in 90. And I was just wanting to see that Fab Five team finish one off, man. Prove the folks wrong that doubted them, that thought they were too young, and then they get that opportunity, and that was so tough at the end. At the end of that game, I can still see it. I can still see him doing it. They probably missed a traveling call earlier in the play. That's probably a walk too.
Oh, he didn't want to dribble when he got the ball, and he kind of looked around and started dribbling.
Froze.
He did not want that ball in his hands one bit, but. Think about all the NBA power forwards kind of during the 90s / early 2000s. You forget about Chris Webber because there were the Dirks and the Tim Duncans and the Kevin Garnetts, Karl Malones. Antonio McDyess was good. Derek Coleman was good. Like Rasheed Wallace was there. The list goes on. Like Chris Webber, he had a really, really good pro career, really good teams. Sacramento, if Shaq and Kobe weren't around, they'd have rings.
They would. Yeah, that Sacramento group, as you're talking there, Chris Webber, that's with Vlade,
Peja, Mike Bibby.
Yeah.
Like getting rid of Jason Williams for Mike Bibby, what a steal. Because people thought they were on the same level. Jason Williams had so much publicity with the behind-the-back passes. He would average like 6 turnovers a game, but all you saw on SportsCenter that night was him throwing like behind-the-back passes from full court and crazy above-the-head stuff. Like just he's a new coming of Pistol Pete Maravich. They made that trade, and they got so much better. Like they got swept, I think, against the Lakers in 2001. They came back the next year with Bibby and took the Lakers all the way to 7.
Oh, so
got
close.
Hosed.
So close.
Got hosed. One of the biggest hose jobs in NBA history.
Yeah, that was bad.
That and the Mavs with D Wade, both of those, game 6, brutal. And if you go look at game 7, like right before they get on the court, when they're, announcing the starting lineups, they show Chris Webber. And it's like he already knew they lost. Like, go back and watch, Kobe and Shaq are locked in.
Yeah.
Like, they're at Arco Arena, too. Back when Arco Arena, one of the toughest places to play NBA history. Like, it low-key mirrored Chicago Stadium during the 90s days.
Because Chris knew it got away.
He knew it. He knew it. Like, you got game 7. And he had the look on his face like, we have no chance.
They know.
We have no chance. And then Vlade Divac, just a horrible tip out to Robert Horry in stride, game 5, money. Money, talking about lucky shot. Ain't no lucky shots. Big shot, Bob.
Tipped it right to him.
Tipped it right to him. A lucky shot. Lucky shot is Yugoslavian accent. Tipped it right to him.
You make your own luck, they say, but sometimes somebody can help you with your luck.
That
can
hurt.
help you with it. Happy birthday to Chris Webber today, the big 5-0. By the way, if you need to know, Jimmy King is going to be 50 in August, and the Texan himself, the Austinite himself, Ray Jackson, in November, and then they'll all be 50. And I'll really feel old when everybody in the Fab Five is 5-0. That's crazy. Crazy. The year that I didn't need to feel any older, but the Fab Five is helping me do it. They were incredible. Go watch that documentary if you haven't seen it. That'd be a great way to warm up for March Madness. Go watch that documentary. Go watch the 30 for 30 on how those guys changed the way basketball looked, the way basketball felt, the energy level. Man, they were so much fun. All right, coming up, stems and seeds before we get out of here. How about some NFL notes? Sometimes we bitch at teams for letting guys go. We got to give teams credit for saying, stay the hell away from our guys. That's next on The Horn. All right, this is Chad talking Apple leasing. And earlier I was talking about maintenance on stuff. Cars, obviously a big thing. Got to keep up with the maintenance. And with Apple leasing, that's what you keep up with, the basic stuff. But you're not having to worry about all that mess at the end where you might just be trying to keep the car alive. No, with Apple leasing, you're going to be paying for the part of the car that you're using. The part with the factory warranty, they're going to take care of you every step of the way. Easiest and safest way to get a new car. So you've got that car in mind, or a truck, or SUV, whatever you've been thinking about. Call them up at 346-9977 and start going through that process. Maybe you're looking at a couple different brands. That's fantastic. Apple Leasing is perfect for that. They're going to take you through the different options. They'll talk about the different rebates available with each particular car, truck, whatever that you're looking at, and then they bring those options to you. You're going to sign everything electronically with DocuSign, so that part is really simple. They keep all the hassle for you, for themselves, and they pass all the discounts to you. They get the same discounts and incentives that the dealers do. You're going to love it. 346-9977, again, is that number. Call them up. I talked to Beth. You'll talk to her or one of the great folks there at Apple, and they'll help to get you through the process and explain to you everything that you need to know. And if you need to, they'll deliver it right to your driveway, just like they did for me. 346-9977, or hit them up at appleleasing.com.
Chad and Zay.
It's a fantastic start. Almost done with a Wednesday show. We got a special schedule for you tonight. We'll get you in just a second. What we got here, Zay? We got a lot going on here at the beginning.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I barely know this guy.
All right.
I know you're definitely not going to know him.
Okay.
Mims.
Yeah,
he had one album. This was a hit. And then he had another song called This Is Why I'm Hot. That was a bigger hit than this, but after that, it gets a little slim.
Mims that's a song that I think Wags plays on his Sunday show. This is why I'm hot. This is why he does a little segment.
That's right.
This is why
That's
I'm hot.
right.
That's Mims.
That's
okay.
Mims.
Yeah. Okay.
That's Mims. Yeah.
Right.
Shout out to Wags, by the way. Happy birthday, Wags.
Is that today?
That's today.
Oh, he's a March 1st, baby. How about that? That one would be easy to remember, I would think. I need to try to commit that to memory. I don't have a lot of guys' birthdays in my head. I don't have a ton of them, right?
I mean, I'm glad.
I'm just, that's it's not something we are usually trained to remember.
No.
When you learn those things, like I'm trying, it'll come up and it's like, oh, yeah. My wife will act like I'm supposed to know.
Right.
You know, Steve's birthday yesterday. I don't keep up with Steve's birthday. You think Steve knows my birthday?
Yeah.
Probably does because it's on Christmas and it's easy to remember. But he doesn't expect me to know his.
No.
That's the key.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't know nobody's birthday.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Everybody acts like they know. They don't.
They don't know.
It's the algorithm letting them know. Don't act like you knew that his birthday was April the 9th. You didn't know that. Come on. All right, so Mims finishes it off today. We had West Side Gun earlier. We had Bryan Adams, Commodores, Quiet Riot, Air Race to start it out. The Lloyd Banks beat to start this hour. A part of, let me see if I do this right, part of G-Unit?
G-Unit.
There we go. So I'm trying to get that straight. Tomorrow, remember, at 2 o'clock, Album Swap hits a really interesting spot. Zay's going to be talking about a Janelle Monáe album. Have you listened to any of it yet?
I have.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All of it?
Yeah.
Any preview?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay.
Surprised.
I will admit to you, I have not listened to a second of the Raekwon album yet. I'm going to try to go one full listen tonight. It's about an hour. One full listen tonight. So I have not heard any of it. Do you have any advice for me before I get into this album?
Yeah, you might have, pull up the lyrics just so you're not lost. Because Ray and Ghost, they're going to take you places.
Okay.
That you've never been before. It's way different than Meth and
all right.
And Dirty.
It sounds like
different.
It sounds like one I need to sit with it. That's what I want to do. I want to sit down and concentrate on the record.
Yes. This is the album that introduced hip-hop to mafioso rap.
Okay. It is called Only Built for Cuban Links, August of 95. I'll talk about that one tomorrow at 2 and what I thought of it. And Zay's going to talk about Janelle Monáe's Dirty Computer album from 2018 tomorrow at 2. Because that's the one my daughter wanted him to listen to. So we'll see where that goes. Sounds like it's pretty good. So maybe she's a good recommender of music. It is Stems and Seeds, brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Zay, it's a new trend. I haven't heard about this in the NFL, but I like it. GM showing up to the combine and saying, get your dirty hands off my receivers. Stay away from my guys. The Cincinnati dude showed up and said, if y'all want a receiver, fine. Don't take T. Higgins. Don't even think about it. He's coming up on the last year of a deal. They say they're going to figure that all out. T. Higgins is off limits, according to Cincinnati.
All right. We'll see how that goes. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of it depends on how much Joe Burrow is willing to give up when his contract comes around. So if Joe Burrow wants everything to keep running smoothly and keep getting to the AFC Championship game, as a quarterback, we know what he's supposed to make compared to all the other elite quarterbacks. He doesn't have to make that, which will benefit his team and his roster if they want to have, deep pockets.
Got to go Tom Brady.
You got to go Brady.
Got to go Tim Duncan style from back in the day. You got to take less to get more. We'll see if he does that. Here's the other one. The Chargers guy showed up at the combine and said, y'all can stop talking about Keenan Allen right now. He says Keenan Allen is off limits. He's staying with the Chargers.
Okay.
That's a little different discussion. Keenan Allen's a lot further down the road.
A lot further down the road.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years he has left. He's already injury prone as it is. So how many years does Keenan Allen have left at this high level? He's always good while he's on the field, but that's the problem. He's not on the field very much.
And now the other big story in the NFL today, it's about Jalen Carter. The developments in that story, charged with reckless driving and racing in connection with that crash back in January that killed a staff member and a player at Georgia. Jalen Carter was a part of that in that he was racing against them. And now he's got to deal with that part. How does that affect the draft at the top? How does that affect the Bears and their power with the number 1 pick? How does it affect Houston or Indianapolis trying to go get that number 1 pick? And would Jalen Carter fall down draft boards because of it? All that has to be figured out. Tonight, our special schedule sounds like this. Ball Don't Lie coming up next, of course. Wednesday Night Flex, a little earlier.